Today, I'm speaking to an entrepreneur that had a business doing $80,000 a year worth of revenue. This year, it's gone over to $12.5 million in the same 12 months. I've never heard such facts in my entrepreneurial career. In fact, it's so unbelievable. He's only got 4 staff looking after $12.5 million of revenue. That quite possibly is the highest revenue per employee I've ever heard. Now, I don't verify any of these facts. I have to take everything on face value. If it's true, he quite possibly is the most impressive entrepreneur I've ever come across. Hello, campers. Welcome back to the Business Broadcast. Out of 400 episodes of this show, 300 I think I've done on my own and now 100 with you. You've been around for quite a while now,
yeah,
baby.
the better 100.
The better 100.
That's what people on YouTube are saying.
More people listening than ever before, so welcome. And very, very much internationally. We are picking up lots of listeners in America, Australia, New Zealand.
Just today, we've batch recorded. We've spoken to Australia, Ireland, a couple in the UK, and now Florida.
Absolutely, baby. This business, look, I think we don't verify the facts and figures that we're told. We just take it on
face value
from what our guests tell us. And we basically, the way the podcast works, which you can apply to come on, by the way, you go to my website, jamessinclair.net, click on podcasts, and there's an application form, and you'll see there, we ask these things. What's your 3 biggest challenges? Are you making the profit that you want to make? Where you been? Where you going? How many staff you got? We ask a basic number of questions, and that really gives JB and I a script to work off to have some structure to the conversation. I think that's fair to say, don't you, JB? That's pretty much how...
Good summary.
That's pretty much how it works. And so my guest today, I mean, this is unbelievable. In the year 2022, he said he'd done $400,000 of sales. Last year, he had a bad year in 2023, done $80,000 of sales. And this year, $12.5 million worth of sales in 2024. He got...
Never heard anything like it in my life.
It is unbelievable. And what's even more impressive, I mean, I have heard those jumps in revenues because you could get one big customer. You could get a military contract. Yeah. You could get, a big S&P 500 company come along. What's really impressive is not so much the turnover. What's really impressive for me is there's only 4 staff. I mean, unbelievable.
So three and a bit million quid per employee. We've had 400,000. That was the most, wasn't it? We had a 20 million quid company who was doing AV installs. Remember? It was doing about 400 grand per employee. We were impressed with that. So this is
unflipping believable. And that's why I've got a caveat, because we have not verified these facts. So we're just, because I don't want people thinking this is usual. It is incredibly unusual.
Yeah.
Now, he's in the IT space. Tell us some more, JB.
Yeah, so the company's called megabyte.co. He's been going over 10 years. I think he said 2008, or maybe I saw that on LinkedIn.
I think he said 16 years, didn't he?
16, yes, sorry. You're right. Estimated monthly, now this is where it gets a bit confusing. Estimated monthly revenue is $6,000, but he was saying that's $6,000 per customer. So... Okay. Does he have 2 team members? When he applied to be on the show, he had 2, but he's now got 4. Biggest challenge, getting through the front door. Second biggest challenge, getting capital to purchase our competitors who are on their way out. The brand still has some value. And challenge number 3 is have a location in Ireland. He wants to open a location in Ireland. Which, to be fair, a lot of big tech companies, he's doing big tech company revenues.
Apple and Google do that.
They stick themselves in Ireland because it's very tax efficient. Where do you want to be in 1 year's time? He said he wants to acquire the whole pie of one of our clients. They would allow us to make $90,000 per month. I think we have to get a bit of clarity on who these clients are. What does the business look like when it's finished? To be an international MSP and multimedia company who becomes a lifestyle brand.
JB, can you break out the acronym? Because I think, what does MSP stand
I've got no idea. Do you know what it stands for?
No idea. No, that's what I'm asking you.
It stands for mileage per square pixel, which is it's a technical term in web talk.
Have you just made that up?
Yeah, completely. I'm just making the whole thing up. That's what I'm doing. Do you make the profit you want to make? If so, what is it? I don't. He says he makes
I think I know what it is. Multi-service provider. Do you think it is that?
Of course it is.
Yeah.
This is why you get paid the genuine big bucks. That's why. Do you make the profit that you want to make? If so, what is it? I don't. It makes $500,000 a month. I want to be able to invest in my employees to give them the best of everything because in the end, my company's assets are my teammates. If you're doing 500,000 bags a month, you are making the profit you want to make, unless you're a small country. I mean, if you're Switzerland, maybe that's not it. But if you're not, I mean, £500,000. How much does this fella want? We'll have to find out.
It's impressive.
We
had a chat. He's got some good cash reserves. So he says, it's just, I mean, I'm flummoxed.
I am. I want to learn the lessons. Chuds has got his hand up like a small schoolboy. Managed service provider.
What did I say?
Not mileage per square pixel then. That's definitely
Multiple
you're
service
close,
provider.
close enough.
Yeah,
You're
fine.
2/3 right, 1/3 wrong. Which is how I like you as a ratio. How does he spend his day-to-day time in the business? Still managing the day-to-day, but close to ending that this year. And then there's 5 questions that he wants to ask you as well, Jimbo, including how to purchase competitors, etc. So I think what we should do for this pod, we should get potentially, let's find out a bit of a summary of the business and then chuck questions at you
Straight away.
I think that's the modus operandi. So let's get him on the show all the way.
Modus operandi. Well, wait a sec. We're missing out some regulars here
Oh,
on the
good God.
podcast.
Oh, no.
I haven't got a fact. Have you got a fact?
I've got nothing.
But we need to do the fact or quote of the week.
Sure. Interesting quote or fact. Time for this. Interesting quote or fact. Interesting quote or fact. It's time for the interesting quote or fact of the week.
Yeah, baby. Welcome back to Interesting Fact or Quote of the Week. I'm going for a quote.
Of course you are.
Well, you think I've got two things I think are really important. 2 of my isms. I'm going to go for my quote. The bigger you think, the less competition you will have. And
that's very true.
I think that small thinking leads to small results. Big thinking leads to big results. So the bigger you think, the less competition you will have. I absolutely, thoroughly believe that. I've said here on the pod so many times that, you know, everyone can open a 6-bedroom B&B, but not everyone can open a 70-bedroom hotel. And the money lies in the 70-bedroom hotel.
Yeah.
What you're buying with a 6-bedroom B&B is a job that may be profitable, that may not be profitable, and you're buying yourself a noose rather than an opportunity.
Oh, that's good. A noose rather than an opportunity. I wonder how many people on the podcast that we've had on before they are business owners, but they're actually job owners. I wonder how many people have built that business without realising they've just given themselves a high-paying job. Which again, if that's what you want for your life, that's absolutely fine as long as you're aware of it.
I would like. I know you might have a fact.
Oh, I have got a fact.
Is it?
Is it business related? Because the other time you talked about breath work. Yes, it's still related.
But I think you should come up with a Bill Gates or a Steve Jobs fact, because this is a computer show, isn't it? Now.
Well, it is. I haven't got time to do that.
Yeah. But that would have been great if you did.
But
there's loads of interesting facts about Bill Gates.
Yeah.
Loads.
Did you know?
So did you come up with an interesting fact about
fact.
Bill Gates?
Here you go. Do you want an interesting fact? Interesting quote about Bill, right?
Go on then.
Bill Gates, one of the busiest people on the planet. He's trying to cube an area. He's doing some stuff with computers, all that kind of good stuff. Still, every single week of the year, takes himself off for what he calls Reading Week. And I know you're going to go, man, I told you about that documentary, but other people don't know about it, right?
Yeah.
So I'm regurgitating your second-hand information.
Fact?
I think it is. Yeah. Let us know. Just say not so great, or
you could give people homework here.
Okay.
To go and watch that documentary.
It is very good. It's a 4-part documentary inside Bill's brain.
Yeah, that is. Do you know what?
He flies on an aquaplane,
pop plane,
doesn't he? An aquaplane. It's called a pop plane.
Well,
an aquaplane.
It's certainly not the plane you would expect one of the richest men in the world to go in.
No, but it is very apt for landing on a lake, which is where he goes and lands. And then he goes into like a little shed with about 50 cans of Diet Coke and 7 books, and that's it. He doesn't have his devices. He can't be contacted. I'm sure someone could get hold of him if they really had to, but he just goes and thinks for a week. And I think the thing here is, if one of the busiest men on the planet can do it, why can't you? If you're listening to this podcast, why can't you take that time out?
Absolutely. I couldn't agree more.
Bigger thinking.
Yeah.
But here's my interesting fact.
Yeah, go on. What's your interesting fact?
Because this is a computer episode. The global managed services market is worth an estimated $267 billion.
Wow.
So this
guy
today
has got a little slice of that. $12 million of it.
12 million squiddaroonies out of the 267 billion. It's not a big percentage, but hey, it will do, wouldn't it? That's a good starting point. So that's our interesting fact quote of the week. Are you glad we done that?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Fine.
There's so many, there's so many Bill Gates things. I'm listening to a podcast about how he started at the moment.
What's that? Is that a Wondery?
No. It's an acquired episode. They've done 4 parts on Microsoft.
Oh.
One of the guys, I think it's Ben, that's the guy on, or David. I'm not, whatever.
They're both.
One of them worked for Microsoft. So
did he?
Really interesting. It's just Bill Gates. His dad, super impressive. Super impressive. Bill Gates again, but the senior.
What did he do then?
He was a lawyer, and Bill Gates' mum, massively impressive character as well. And they were a power family. About environment. There's a talk about.
Yeah.
So Bill Gates would regularly come home, and his mum was such a power couple. Sorry, they were a power family.
Yeah.
They would regularly just have a senator over for dinner. And a
Was she a lobbyist or something?
No, she sat on boards of different companies.
That's right. Yeah.
I think they were involved in politics. So Bill would just come home from school, and a senator would be around for dinner. I mean, you imagine you're 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 years old, and every night of the week you've got a CEO or a senator or a governor over for dinner.
Yeah.
The elite people of your community.
Yeah.
It's going to rub off on you, isn't it?
100%. I call it vicarious learning.
Yeah.
I love vicarious learning, and you can actually see it. And we've probably, both of you and I have got kids, not together, but of very similar ages. That they are a little sponge at this age, aren't they? Like our one's got obsessed because Haley's a graphic designer. He now does Canva. So he made himself like a little logo the other day. He said, "Can I make you a logo?" And I was like, "Yeah, go on then." And he said, "What should I make it for?" I said, "Make me one for my name." He said, "I'm going to do it in your brand colours." He's 7. I went, all right. He said, "Do you know what I'm going to put on it? James Burt, podcast legend." And I went, "Nice one, Lou." And he was like, "I've done you the gradient." He said, "Because I know your favourite colour is green, so I've done you a green gradient." And he put it on LinkedIn. And I said, for the crack, I was like, "If anyone wants a logo," I said, "How much are you going to charge?" He said, "Oh, tell them I'll do it for free." I said, No, you've got to get paid for your time. He said, £3. He went, "Tell everyone £3." So he said, "Tell them £3." He went, "Actually, do you know what? I'll do it for £2." I said, why are you doing a discount?" He said, "Oh yeah, because if I do it for £2, I'll get more customers." Right? He said that, and I was like, where is he getting all this stuff for? He said, "I'm going to do it on Canva." And he got somebody who'd been on the podcast before, Nathan, who owned Glitch VR, who's got the big YouTube channel. Yeah. He had started a sub channel, and I said, "Anyone want a logo?" And he's got one called AI Battle Game. So Louis made a little AI Battle Game logo on Canva, and then the colours, right? This was the bit that blew my mind, right? And this goes to show environment and being around people. I said, so he made this little thing, and I said, "Lou, it looks lovely, by the way." I said, "It looks amazing." I said, "But the two, you've used a red colour there. The red at the top is different from the red at the bottom." He said, "Yeah, but if you look at the top, there's a light that's shining down, so it's brighter on the top red than it is on the bottom. So it's a bit of a shadow on the bottom."
Oh, wow.
I'm like 7 years old.
Do you know the other thing, though, that all of that I agree with, but there's also something else. If you're used to meeting senators and governors and CEOs of companies at 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 years old, imagine the confidence that gives you. So I'm telling you now, if King Charles just walked in here, just walked in the back and came up to us, we're going to behave differently.
Yes.
But if we'd seen him 350 times, we wouldn't.
Yeah, it's very true.
Because he's only a human being.
Yeah.
But he's been given the title. If the Prime Minister walked in it, we're going to, there's the Prime Minister or the President. Yeah, but if you're used to seeing them all the time, your behaviour won't change. You are who you are. And I think that's a very powerful thing.
Yeah.
Very powerful.
Do you remember the old adage of kids should be seen and not heard back in the olden days? Like, I couldn't disagree with anything more.
Yeah.
I think kids should be seen and heard.
Yeah.
Like, put them in the environment to be seen and heard.
Yeah.
Like, I've taken half terms and stuff. I'll take Louis to the office and I'll just make him sit there for the day. And he gets his colour in, he has his little iPad, and he'll go and make a podcast, and he'll grass up all of his naughty mates on this podcast and all that sort of stuff. But I just think being around that, like I say, then I said to him, "Right, you can decide where we're going to go and eat." And he went round, he asked everyone in the office, like, "Where would you want to eat?" There's a new place called Cheap Meals. He goes, "We're going for burgers at Cheap Meals." I'm like, "Okay, cool." Because he'd gone and sort of like crowdsourced where everyone wanted to eat. I think it just builds confidence, doesn't it?
Absolutely, yeah. And so there we go. That's our little facts about Bill Gates.
There you go. Facts about children and Bill Gates there. Right. Have we done enough of the feature stuff?
Yeah, let's bring him on.
Let's bring Deryck on.
Hey gang, we're going back to the pod in just a moment, but I wanted to tell you about Entrepreneurs University. This is a platform that I've created for entrepreneurs and business owners that are serious about growth. There's 100 video lessons from me on everything in business, raising finance, buying companies, property investment, and everything in between. Attached to each video is a downloadable PDF that goes into more detail about what we've learned in the video. It goes one step further than that because I've also put stuff that you won't get anywhere else onto Entrepreneurs University. The lessons go into way more detail, but not just that. You're going to get my business plans, my spreadsheets, and all the files that I use to drive the KPIs in my business. Just think about how powerful that could be for your business. And here's the good news. You can try Entrepreneurs University for free. 14-day free trial. After that, it will cost you just $49.99 a month. That's less than a pair of Nikes to grow the profitability in your business. There's a link in the video description, and I cannot wait to see you in Entrepreneurs University.
Deryck is from Megabyte, all the way from Florida. Hello, sir. How the devil are you?
Hello.
Thank you for being on the show, my friend. Right, as we do with all of our guests, obviously we've sort of talked a little bit about the business before. We've had your submission of some of your questions you were asked to Jimbo and all that kind of good stuff. But for our listener, could you give us a breakdown of you and the business and just tell us a bit about who you are, what you do, and how you do it, etc., please?
Okay, so Megabyte is a managed service provider here in Northeast Florida, and we provide support to different companies and individuals regarding their IT infrastructure along with their workflow. The workflow is actually the differential for us as a company because what ends up happening is we not only just fix computers and maintain the network, but actually look to see how which technology can make the business more efficient and more profitable in a lot of ways, and that's pretty much how we've been building the business. Instead of looking at it as a traditional break fix, which is typical company, you would go to get your computer worked on and then that's it, like screen's broken or whatever. We just do a lot more than that. Adding different tools to help people be more efficient and then training them on it, whether it's training them on new software or the software they're currently using, and we help them with that. We also provide some website development, graphic design purposes, and we're trying to grow into the multimedia space, going into the next year as well. So that's our primary business from that standpoint.
I think the thing that all of our listeners are going to want to know more than anything else is how on earth do you go from 80K in 2023 to $12.5 million in 12 months? Like, that is just unreal. How, walk us through the clients, the methods that you had, the changes that you made within the business to turn it around, because that is some turnaround.
The first step for us was realizing, that question they always say with your business, like, okay, what makes you different? And, when you look at your peers in your industry, you're like, okay, this is what everyone's doing. And then sometimes you got to look outside of your industry. So, okay, what did they do? And we came to the conclusion, the reason people, hate IT people, so to speak, is because the lack of people skills, the lack of just being relatable. So that was the key thing that we found. And we're like, okay, we got to fix that. How do we fix that? And basically that's how we went to market. And for us, and there's a lot of luck also, because this is mainly luck, being at the right place at the right time. And basically what happened for us is we went to one of the larger nonprofits in our area who basically had a horrible relationship with the current provider that they were using. And basically what ended up happening is one of their people came to us for a basic repair, loved how we took care of that. And the follow-up call, which we typically do. So like, for example, let's say, when you guys came to us like for normal computer repair, we typically do a follow-up call the next day to make sure we cover everything. Because as we always tell people on the phone, say, hey, we're human. We just want to make sure we got everything. Is there anything we missed? And what ended up happening is this lady's like, you know what? I need to set up this site for this weekend for what they're doing, because for the nonprofit thing that they're doing. And we're like, okay, we could come out and do that. And she was shocked that we would do that because most, companies don't do stuff on the weekends around here. And so through that, she was very happy with us and then referred us to her superiors. Her superiors decided then to hire us for some low-level entry points that the current provider wasn't doing, which was actually the regular break fix. And they just loved working with us. And they said, hey, would you like to get the rest of the contract from these people? I said, well, yeah, sure. And so we got that contract. And then, next day, or I say next day, but it's over a period of time. We started getting emails from other people because they would refer us to other organizations. And so it just goes back to something my mentor told me years ago, and I just didn't really see it because it wasn't happening, which is, if you get one of the bigger people out there, they're going to refer to you because they all run the same circle. And that's basically what ended up happening. So, my goal, honestly, when you go back to when I started the business, I said, look, I want to get 12 really big clients that would get the bills paid. So that way, we have a consistent revenue that happens every time. I never in my wildest mind did I dream that we would land something like this. It was just something that by providing great service, providing good skills, and just asking questions. I think that's the big thing. Don't assume that, you're just, doing a great job. You got to ask, questions, and then just learn more about the company and see how you can help them. And that's basically what we do. We don't just stop at, okay, your network's working great. Security wise, you're doing great. We keep asking, what else can we possibly do for you? And then we just keep finding more things, and they keep giving us more stuff. And before you blink, you're getting more and more of the revenue from that one particular client, and you just continue to build that relationship. So that's really it. So obviously there's some luck, but just taking care of people. Remember, people are people. So I kind of look at it like I was looking at obviously James's YouTube channel. I saw the Rossi Ice Cream, and I was watching like those videos when you're going around walking, meeting your prospective clients and asking them questions and finding other ways to add other things. Letting them know that, hey, Rossi not just sells ice cream, but they sell coffee. All those kinds of little things. Just little things. That's the big part. I think a lot of people are afraid to ask their clients, hey, what else can I do for you? And that was really the secret. And obviously being at the right place at the right time helps as well. So.
Because obviously, and maybe it's different in the States, but in the UK, like a non-profit of that size that have got that kind of scope and budget would probably have to put that kind of a thing out to tender. So is there not a tender process? And then how did they, in terms of like building that relationship, how did you sort of like incrementally get more of the work from them? And how did you did you do like a phase payment thing, or was it like an annual contract? And did you have to, because normally, if you take on land a massive contract, you obviously have to upskill and upstaff yourself, but you've still only got 4 people. How did that work?
Well, it's how it worked is like this, there are certain things where they don't have to put it out for a bid. And all those little jobs that they needed, whether it's in their case, it was refreshing machines after a certain season, we got that job. And then there was other little things that they didn't have to bid, and we grabbed all those. So then when it got to the big job, like what you're referring to, and it came down to the bidding part, we just won the bid. Because they just look at it from I think this is me guessing because obviously you don't know. They just are like, well, look, we have this relationship with them with all these smaller components, and we're really happy with it. And then they love the fact that they communicate good with us. I know that has to be a factor on that, but you're right. It's a bidding process. So for that company, yes, we won the bid from the other company. As a matter of fact, the other company that they were currently using, they were so unhappy with it. They pretty much paid off their contract with them. The remaining part of that contract, I should say. I don't know how much of it was left, but they paid that off because they wanted to get away from them. That's how bad that they were doing, because you just wouldn't listen to them. And we took notes. We asked them, like, what's the things you didn't like about your current provider? And they said, well, every time we call them, they're like, okay, we need a ticket. And I say, okay. And then what happens with the ticket? Well, it'll take them 4 days to answer the ticket. And I'm like, 4 days? What's going on? So, we just found out all these little things. Like, it could be something as simple as, my keyboard's not working, at a desktop. It's like, okay, well, we'll just have someone currently always on site to go ahead and do a walkabout and replace, the keyboards or whatever. And we just kept asking questions like, what problems are you having? And looked at it and said, hey, well, this is how we can solve that. So, just having that relationship helped out. And then, like I said, right place at the right time. That's really it. And when it came to the other kinds of business like that, it's once again, it's the referral, taking the other small things that these other people didn't want to do, and like I said, just trying to grab all the whole pie. And that's kind of how that worked. And it just kept replicating itself over and over again. But like you see, it's very niche, that aspect of it. That's what allowed us to get to that component. But for me right now, and one of the reasons I came on this thing is like, okay, well, I've done it in this area, this arena, but the main arena that I was targeting to start with, we have not, got into that. We don't have that big player that goes around telling, hey, let me refer you or give you that intro lead to this company to go ahead and utilize, because they do a good job.
Who is that? Who is that sector that you're not currently in?
Well, I would say the nonprofit, because that's like you said, when you look at the numbers, like the sheet you guys are looking at is prior to when we got this big contract. So, we were not getting, like I'll just say, like, let's say an office building, right? We weren't getting into through that door. If we did get through the doors, mainly because they came to us on a personal level, and then got into that. So that's where, like, when you look at the notes and what I submitted, it was like, okay, how do we get into the profit sector, not just the nonprofit sector?
So I think you should ask some direct questions now, and we just answer them. Do you remember what they are, or do you?
My questions. Oh yeah. Sorry. Let me pull that up real quick. Sorry.
Well, JB can read them out, and then you can intervene. Go on.
Yeah. So challenge one was, where's the questions gone? Hang on, I've got two because you've submitted it a couple of times, haven't you?
Yeah. I had to resubmit because things changed. Yeah, that's the thing. Okay, actually, here I have it here.
Go on, then you go for it.
Okay, so. Oh wait, that's the old one. It's not the original one. Shoot, 1 second. Sorry.
I've got the reflecting on creative work. Was that the one that's been?
Yes, that's correct. Yeah, okay, reflecting on creative works. Mm-hmm. Go ahead. Sorry.
So, question number one: reflecting on your creative work, such as the video on Rossi involving Christmas, are there any aspects you might approach differently? With your permission, I'd like to draw inspiration from it for a similar endeavour. What would you do different, Jimbo, in terms of the creative?
I don't think I would have done anything. I think that was a great video and a great methodology. Yeah, and
that was the overnight turnaround one, wasn't it? Yeah, it worked.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So I think the answer is go ahead and redo it. Next question.
Damn that. Okay, that was.
What's the similar endeavour? What would you think that would work for in terms of the businesses you're thinking about?
Well, traditional, like I said, we have a freak event that happened to us here financially, but normally December is a slow month for us. So we just figure, well, let's take advantage of December to do something to try to get the attention. Because like he saw that James did on that video, I mean, they wanted to get the social media presence and get the local market to talk about the business. And so I figured, man, that's a great idea. We're in an area that loves Christmas, and but at the same time, outside of the Ritz-Carlton that's near us, there's no one that really does anything. So I've just figured this would be a good opportunity to see if we can do something similar to that. And obviously I wanted to seek out his permission.
Oh, yeah.
Is this for like a repair? So do you actually have a repair shop on a high street?
Yes, sir.
On Main Street? Mm-hmm. Is that what you guys have?
Yeah. I have a storefront. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Question number two was, as an entrepreneur with a keen eye on diverse industries, I find Virgin's foray into banking, notably Virgin Money, intriguing. The concept of a lounge was particularly innovative. In your view, what might have contributed to the challenges faced by their physical locations? Was it perhaps too bold of an idea? We are incorporating similar concepts to add warmth and differentiation into our IT services, which are often perceived as impersonal.
Well, I'm trying to work out what the direct task is here.
Okay, well, here you go. So they had, as you guys know over there, I saw you guys had the lounges. They had lounge areas for customers to sit down and utilize and stuff like that. And it kind of, the impression that I got from that was that banking was very impersonal. And by doing that, that was making it personal. But I kind of wonder if that was also to their decrement as to why their physical storefronts disappeared outside of the COVID and everything else. I mean, was that actually a good idea?
I think Virgin Money still have stores here in the UK.
Oh, they do?
Yeah, I thought they were disappeared. And I mean, banks are closing. the amount of stores they have, because people are not going to, we call them high streets, you call them main street, because people are using the internet to bank from. But where there are stores, they do, they still operate them. So I think, they continue.
But the lounge concept that they did, is that something you think was beneficial or just not of
I
any
think
use
some banks,
really?
my main bank has lounges and chairs and free coffees and stuff, and waitress service. Certainly some banks still have that if it's affordable, for sure. Private
Metro
banks.
tried to bring that in as well, didn't they? Metro Bank, which tried to get onto the high street a lot. They had bring your dog in and all that sort of stuff, didn't they, to try and make it more palatable.
So I think it still exists for the right customers.
For the right customer. Okay. So it's something that is, okay. I was just, this is something we thought about. Cause if you go to most IT shops, it's just a guy sitting behind a desk or, whatever. And we just felt.
Well, I think if you think that stacks up, you should absolutely do that. People will remember that, and their back of mind thinking is, this is a customer care centric business.
Okay.
Question 3, in terms of in-house printing capabilities, what do you think would be a wise investment wise to invest in as we expand beyond traditional copier services? Would wide format or vinyl printing be prudent additions?
I mean, you're in a different league now because you're making millions every single year. If you think that you can get customers for that, then do it. I don't sell my in-house printing services outside of my companies. They are purely for my own businesses, although it's like its own business within our own business, but its only customers are our businesses, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it does. I was just wondering, like what stuff do you do for yourself? Like
Signage,
that's what I'm saying.
Banners, printing, marketing. It never stops.
Well, obviously, you've got a bunch of in real life locations, haven't you? So you need the signage.
Well, that's what I'm saying, because I was just looking like as we grow, would it be beneficial to be being able to do my own stuff? Because I was just curious. I never met a business that actually did all their own in-house.
Yeah, but we're always behind. It's that in-house, and we've always.
Oh, are you really?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
We're doing that much of it. You got 10 coffee shops, 10 play centres, 9-day nurseries, Roller City, Marsh Farm, Lee Valley, the hotel. So we're always we've signed out our own vans now. Like, we're never ahead.
Okay, gotcha. So that's the decrement of okay, gotcha.
We never do anything for anyone else. Like, our customers might have some, a Rossi Ice Cream freezer and sell Rossi Ice Cream, and we would send our team to brand up the freezers, put some signage up. We would even go to restaurants and put signage up because we know them signs are going to be there for years. If we supply a theatre with ice cream, we wrap the freezers, put internal signage, point of sale to drive the sales. So that's the stuff that I'm doing with my in-house printing.
Gotcha. Okay. Well then,
what sort of in-house printing are you thinking you're going to need if you've got? How many shops have you got? How many of the IT shops are there?
Well, like I said, it's just the first year of this. Like I said, this is not a normal situation that transpired, as you guys have said. So for us, it's like, okay, we're going to obviously look to expand. And the question, I was just curious, just out of, just to ask was, is it worth doing that? Because it'll be interesting. So if we open up we hope to open some more stores, and would it make sense for us to make our own material rather than outsourcing it? So I was just,
if I had the sort of money that you're making and the money that you're bringing in, I'd be going and buying millions of pounds worth of commercial property and helping yourself to rent for the rest of your life.
Good point.
That's what I would be doing. I would be buying warehouses, blocks of flat. I mean, residential property is still very attractive in the USA. There's loads of tax breaks that we don't get in the UK. That's certainly my understanding of it.
Yeah.
You could buy a hotel, couldn't you? I mean, you could go and if you make $5 million of profit this year, you could go to a bank and say, I want to buy that hotel. It's making £1 million. I've got 5 million. I need another 5 million. They would lend that to you in a heartbeat. You've got to be doing some property stuff, surely. I mean, I would put $1 million into an index fund. I mean, you're making so much money that I would diversify to protect you and your family forever.
Right. And that's the whole thing. Like I said, this is not like a back-to-back year thing. This is just happened this year. So it's not like, we had this.
You won the lottery, mate.
Basically, yeah, basically.
And so you need to invest that cash, that them fast pounds you've earned, and so they turn into slow pounds, so they generate you income for the rest of your life. Period.
Gotcha. Well, then I guess that's that makes us skip question 4, because if you think about it, that answers it in part number 2, and then that leads us to the last part, which is kind of a joke. I was just curious if is with Rossi, have you guys even thought about bringing it to the United States, or are you just sticking where you're at with it?
One day we may go international with it, but we've got 70 million people in the UK, and I don't think we've exhausted the UK market. But you never say never. But I always want to make sure that I've absolutely exhausted my home turf, the cultures I understand, the locations, the business, the demographics that I understand, to make sure we completely do that well before we look to go anywhere else.
Okay, so then that goes back to my first question about expanding past the United States on my end. So yeah,
so you've got to learn to be a good investor with the amount of cash that you've got coming in. You need to learn about index funds. You need to learn about commercial property. You need to go and meet some banks. You can do investment-backed lending as well, where you can put some money in the S&P 500 and borrow 60% of that back on very low interest rates. Most private banks in America, I'm sure, will do that, because it's, the rest of the world do it. There's so many things that you can do. You must have had the bank contact you saying, whoa, where's all this money come from?
Well, yeah, I was getting tons of emails the last 2 months about offering this loan or that loan, or would you like to come in and do this and that. It's just, like I said, it's just weird. I've never... I can't explain how odd it is for me, because to go from when I started the company, couldn't get even a loan, to now getting, basically the world thrown at you somewhat. It's just crazy. And like you said, I got to think a lot differently than prior. Before, it's like, okay, how do you get the bills paid this month? Now what do you do? It's like I don't know if you remember that cartoon Roadrunner. He fought the coyote finally caught the Roadrunner, and he's like, now what? It kind of feels kind of like that somewhat, but at the same time, you don't want to take it for granted. You want to, continue to do what you're doing, and
you've got lots of cash, and you need to make sure that you turn that into investments that give you dividends for the rest of your life. Period.
Yeah,
because you might not have it again next year. You might
exactly.
It could be a fluke year, and so make sure you do all the right stuff.
But and that's the whole point. That's what. Yeah, absolutely.
Amazing. Well, unless you've got any other questions, Deryck, I think that probably wraps up this episode. Was there anything else you wanted to cover off or ask Jimbo?
No, I think he covered the main point, which is, like you said, you gotta, now when you get an opportunity like that, you got to, I got a lot of learning to do, like I said, investments, what to do with it, to make sure that, family and everyone else is taken care of, and, and continue to do what I'm doing. I guess, look to see how we can get into the profit market, or the non instead of being just in the non-profit market. I want to get into the other markets. I got to figure out how to do that.
I also, in that regard, to be honest though, mate, if you found a niche that pays you this well, just stay in that lane.
Yeah,
I mean, it's a wide enough lane, and they've obviously got deep enough pockets. If you found, I don't know whether it's 1, 2, 3 clients, but it sounds like it can't be very many if you've only got 4 members of staff. But if you're getting that kind of revenue per client, just stay where you are and double down on that niche.
And if you've got $5 million available after taxes and everything, just put it, you could just do investment-backed lending, put it in an index fund, and probably help yourself to $500,000 a year for the rest of your life.
Gotcha.
Awesome.
Okay.
Where can people find out more information about you and this incredible business, Deryck? Just so if anyone's like, how the hell did he do it? And they can find out more about you, where can they go?
Just go to megabyte.co.
Megabyte.co. There we go. Well, thank you very much for being on the podcast. We appreciate your time massively.
All right, thank you.
Nice
Thank
one.
you, mate.
Cheers,
Cheers.
Deryck. Take
Bye-bye.
care. All the best. There you go. Deryck, all the way from, not California, Florida.
US of A.
The US of A. That's what I was going to say. The US of A. Florida. You a fan? Have you been to America?
So I've been to America.
Have you been to Disney World?
Yep.
Have you? What, the Florida one?
Yep.
Have you been with the kids?
No.
Have you? Oh, no, not yet. When are you going to take them though?
I mean, I'd much rather go on a Disney cruise. I think it's so much better.
Fair enough.
Because I've done both. I've done the cruise for the kids, Disney cruise. We got to do the rating now.
We have got to do the rating. It's very it's very
I
difficult
think
to-
it's a fluke thing, which I can't, because, really it should be an 8.
Yeah.
He's succeeded, but I think
He's at 156 times his income. So
I think it's a bit of a lottery win in terms of.
Should we just give him a straight 8?
No, I think
straight 8.
No, I don't think so. 8 traits of the great entrepreneurs as we rate our guests and entrepreneurs that come on the show on 8 traits of making a great entrepreneur. Starting with the end in mind.
I don't think
he doesn't.
He is, no, because he's still talking about making print.
Yeah, and passionate about their cause.
I think he's that. I think he seems to like the old technical space.
Untold amounts of resilience.
We don't know, so we can't tell.
They master relationships with people. They seem nice enough, yes. Commercial awareness.
No.
Anyone that's built money up over a period of time will know about how to invest. And I don't think it's like, oh yeah, I didn't think of that. Yeah.
It might be, like you say, almost like the mentality of a lottery win.
Yeah.
Like, oh my good God, what the hell do I do with all this now? Like, why are you talking about like double-sided
He hasn't
printing?
become, has he?
No. He's got to, and this is probably the risk when you come into a windfall of cash very, very quickly. Well, they say a fool and his money are easily parted.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that he's a fool, but if you get that so quickly and you have that, you don't really know how it is that you got it.
Yeah, I think if you're a billionaire and someone says to you, "Oh, I've got 9-10 million pounds here to invest," they're going to know exactly what to do.
Yes.
And they're going to turn it into more.
Yeah.
Even
if you're not, you'd have to be a billionaire because put it into index funds and buy some commercial property. Like
absolutely.
That's just fiscally sensible, isn't it?
Yeah. But if you go from $80,000 to $12 million in the same 12 months, there's no training there on how to cope with that.
No, it's probably an audience of one that have ever been through that, isn't it, realistically?
Yeah. And even when we look at celebrities and, everyone, I know we talk about Taylor Swift quite a lot on here, and she's probably the most famous person on the planet now.
Yes.
But she has been at it for 2 decades.
Yes. And she's also got
literally 2 decades. Like, there's a lot of training to be able to cope with that success.
She's a 20-year overnight success, isn't she?
Yeah, absolutely. They innovate so they don't evaporate.
I don't think you can say that one either, really.
No.
He's just doing the same thing.
Master marketeer. I think we give a half.
You can't give a half. You can't give a half for that.
Why?
Because if you have a look at the website, you can't give a half. I'm sorry.
Okay.
I'm putting my foot down with it.
Okay, so they stay teachable and curious.
He definitely took on board the information. I would give him that.
So we've got a 3 out of 8 here.
3 out of 8.
For
No need to hate. A 3 out of 8. That's what we all say.
But frankly, if it's all true, and we don't verify this, and I think that's very important that we state that.
Yes.
We don't verify any of our guests. We just take it on face value. Arguably one of the most successful entrepreneurs I've ever come across.
And got a 3 out of 8.
I've never met someone that's got a $12 million turnover, a £12 million turnover that's only got 4 staff. Never.
No.
Maybe some YouTubers have. I don't know. I mean, I've met some successful YouTubers. I've actually done some consultancy work for successful YouTubers making a lot of money, but they've got like teams of 20, 25.
Well, he's part of Fellas Studios, isn't he? Which is a podcast production company. They've got 15, 20 staff, and Cal Freezy, who was one of the sidemen, was part of that team. So like I say, even if you look at like freelancers as an influencer, you've probably got a manager, you've got an accountant, you've got a manager, you've probably got a video editor, you must have a social media man, you must have half a dozen people at the very least. We might have just met the best entrepreneur we've ever come across.
Maybe.
I have never.
And we've only rated them 3 out of 8, but we can't verify the skill sets, can we?
No. It's very rare that I meet someone who I go, you're more impressive than James Sinclair. But based on that, you are my second favourite entrepreneur I've spoken to today. I've spoken to a few. Actually, do you know what? Chuds is my second favourite, just because I think he's a legend. So you're down in a lowly 3rd at this point, Jimbo.
Thank you very much.
How do you feel about that?
I feel great.
Good guess.
Thanks very much for watching and listening to this podcast. If you are watching on YouTube, please subscribe to the channel. Let us know what you think of this business in the comments. And if you're if you're listening on Spotify or podcast, leave us a review. It'd be a lovely thing to do.
And share it. How many people should they share it with, Jimbo?
At least just one person.
Just one.
One person.
At least just one. I mean, that's literally the least you can do.
Yeah.
That is the correct answer. Share it with one person if you like this podcast and you think that you should get it into someone else's entrepreneurial ear holes.
There we go, gang.
Ta-da, see you later, bye.
Bye-bye. Thanks for watching today, gang. I hope you enjoyed the show. Now, look, we're looking for some great businesses to come on the podcast. If you've got challenges, but you're desperate to grow your business and you can't necessarily work out how to do it on your own, you'll be a perfect candidate to come here on the podcast. It's absolutely free to come on the show. Go to my website, jamessinclair.net, and there's a podcast button. Click on the podcast button, fill in the application form, and we'll do our very best to get you on the show and try and grow your business. If you're loving the podcast, make sure you subscribe to the channel by clicking here. And why not give this one a watch? I think you'll like it.